Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today. It is September. June here. September 20th, 2022. Man, they call Meathead. Matthew Thomas stepping in for Linda Kay on a Tuesday morning. Matthew, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Whether it's June or July or September, it's always a pleasure to spend the morning with you, Meathead.
Well, I disappointed our fans, and honestly, yesterday morning with Linda, I should have said, "Yar!" Because yesterday was Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Oh, it was interesting.
September 19th every year, International Talk Like a Pirate Day. I got up early in the morning, right when we were getting ready to put the show out there live. I said, and I woke up the wife. I said, "Yar, woman, you be putting together me vittles. Otherwise, I'll make you walk the plank."
How'd that go over?
I didn't get any vittles.
I live to get some vittles some other day, I suppose.
I'd never had a day where I got to say vittles so many times.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to do that every once in a while. I hope it went over very well at the bank.
And to be honest, because I didn't get to be vittles, I developed scurvy.
Hey, you gotta embrace it once a year.
Well, I also embrace it when the Brewers play the Pirates.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess you could. I guess Barry Bonds, though, he's got kind of like a low voice, though, like former Pirate, right? So,
yeah,
like a Pirate
Killer Bees.
Yeah, a Pirate doesn't necessarily have to, be your traditional Pirate. You can just kind of talk like Barry Bonds.
Or you could talk like Tom Brady, because technically he's a Pirate too, and he'll be losing to the Green Bay Packers this coming Sunday.
Hey, I mean, there's only 18 more minutes left in the show. I think you can get through the whole show as a Pirate.
Matthew Thomas, what are the lads on the 7 Seas wearing from our sponsor?
You're talking about that collar and elbow brand apparel. It doesn't matter which ship you're sailing or what plank you're walking or what kind of swashbuckling you're doing. Head on over to collarandelbowbrand.com. And I don't think I made this up. I don't think it was a dream. I think there was yet another release. So what happens when I see a new release on Collar and Elbow? It kind of it's kind of fuzzy, like when you first wake up and you just kind of remember a dream, because they've been throwing so much at us recently. There was yesterday, I believe I saw a new release, and I'm just trying to get over the shock and awe and the excitement of the high risk maneuver shirt. And there's a new one out there now as well too. So head on over to collarandelbowbrand.com. Check it out yourself. Enter promo code Linda KLINDAKAY. Save yourself 10% because you're going to need it, because you're going to want to buy another Collar and Elbow shirt when they release another brand new one in a week.
All right, Matthew, we'll be talking the wrestling news, and we're going to talk about my favorite WWE superstar, Paul Burchill, excuse me, and his sister Katie, swinging in from a rope. All right, I'm done.
Although
I said Paul London and I meant Paul Burchill.
It was more intriguing as to why Pirate Meathead liked Paul London. I didn't really ask any questions. I mean, he's entitled to like who he likes.
No, I meant Paul Burchill. Remember they had that camera angle where they would I thought it was a unique way to come in, but then they were going to have that angle where he was going to be like into his sister. It was so weird.
That's what it was supposed to be, but they never quite went there. But some very interesting mid-2000s WWE right before that TV. Yeah, right before they went TV PG.
All right, but we are going to talk a little bit of news here. And when I was going up against all the Lords of the Land, I'd have Survivor Series matches. No, I'm kidding. Survivor Series coming back this year with a brand new twist. Matthew Thomas, War Games at Survivor Series. I'm intrigued.
I love it. It's the first time I believe we've seen War Games on the main roster. And I did see some additional news yesterday. I believe it was stated as in addition to this, that these will be storyline-based feuds as opposed to Raw versus SmackDown, as we've seen on Survivor Series in recent years. So this looks like it is going to be War Games in the context of feuds, what War Games was traditionally used to settle, as opposed to, I'm going to wrestle you, Mr. SmackDown, and I'm going to wrestle you, Mr. Raw, at this one pay-per-view, which I love it for the fact that I think War Games will be very, very effective at Survivor Series. And I'm ready for a Survivor Series that doesn't feel like a gimmick pay-per-view. And I know we're talking about a quote-unquote gimmick match, but in recent years, Survivor Series has been, okay, just like we know every time, oh, we're going to have a match that's going to need a Hell in a Cell stipulation, or we're going to need a match that needs a chair match when we get around TLC. The same thing with Survivor Series. All of a sudden, people have this brand loyalty to their brands, and it's just felt very unnatural, very out of place. Contrived. And it's gotten away from, one of your big four pay-per-views, like it's kind of taken away from that to make it feel a little bit more, because basically, let's go back. That brand versus brand thing was initially bragging rights. It was not one of your big four. It was another pay-per-view. And then that kind of got, encompassed in Survivor Series. So I'm happy to see for the first time in a long time a Survivor Series that will hopefully resemble a more, and when I say traditional, I don't mean a traditional Survivor Series match, but a Survivor Series that is going to be storyline and feud driven. So I think it's a great move. And I got to say, as happy as I am to hear it, I can't say I'm super surprised because this seems to be very on brand for this Triple H era.
The only thing that's missing is the Survivor Series logo for War Games is red on the left and blue on the right. Like they're going to, can be competed against each other, but we'll see how it goes. So Survivor Series War Games is coming in November. Quick bit of WWE news before we talk AEW and then jump back into Raw. Matthew, we know that in AEW that we've got Jane, right, for Orange Cassidy, the Starship. You ever heard the song White Rabbit?
I have, and I did not realize I had and what it was called. But I've been listening to it a little bit here more recently over the last few days.
And that would be because apparently WWE is setting us up for a nice big story / return or debut, playing White Rabbit between breaks. They was there a video package yet? You said there was something about a QR code.
Yeah, so apparently, very, very quick, but there was a QR code. Apparently, the QR code last night took you to kind of an animated, drawn image of a white rabbit, and like there was kind of a checkered background or something.
Okay, speculation time. Go. Who's the White Rabbit and what's it for?
You first got to say most likely suspect is Bray. It seems like it would be something that would be
because
up
remember
his
he had a White Rabbit.
Yeah, it would be up his alley. Or hey, there was a literal White Rabbit with Adam Rose, right? Maybe it's not Adam Rose.
Wait a minute, Matthew Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, here on PWR today. You want to talk about long-term storytelling. Remember how we always said that they finally got it right in WCW when they showed Eric Bischoff getting out of the white Hummer?
Mm-hmm.
White Rabbit was taken away from Adam Rose, one of the Rosebuds. Adam Rose was taken away from WWE because his head was off during a backstage segment. Boom, 2022, time to resolve it.
Oh, that would be great. That would be fantastic.
How many years ago was that? Was that at least 8 years ago?
It's close. It's close because I remember shortly after moving to Colorado, seeing it was like ESPN or somebody.
It was ESPN. It was 100%.
Was it? Did the little thing on Adam Rose, right?
Yep. Not only Adam Rose was on there. It's where we learned about Corey Graves being hurt and Triple H offering him commentary.
Yeah. And that was shortly after I moved here. So that was 2015 from what I recall. So yeah, you're close, man.
Adam Rose had a good run in FCW in 2011. Ran NXT 2012 to 2014. The Exotic Express 2014. 8 years ago. On the dot, Matthew Thomas.
You know why you knew that, Meathead, is because you're not a lemon.
Don't be a lemon, be a rosebud. After WrestleMania 30, Raw on April 7th, they started debuting vignettes for Adam Rose. Wow. He made his main roster debut May 5th, interrupting Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
I missed that. We can't say his name, but Big D from Big D, no longer in Big D, but in SF. I miss going Swagger.
My
Hey,
goodness. So yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents worth. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
But let's throw out the one piece here. He's been released from AEW. He had a no compete clause, which is part of his
Yeah.
one of the things that he said that was conditional. Do they do these long term for Aleister Black to return?
It's possible. I mean, you don't have to promise anything.
Unlikely.
Yeah, but you don't have to promise anything now. I mean, just because we started hearing it doesn't
The White
mean.
Rabbit's too light for
Yeah.
Aleister. Okay, and not a pun on the rabbit being white, but
Yeah.
let's talk AEW real quick. This coming tomorrow night, actually, AEW Grand Slam at the Arthur Ashe Stadium, a packed house of over 20,000 people going to be there. Action Bronson in a tag match with Hook. Action Bronson performs the entrance song. And Action Bronson apparently getting in the ring and also doing interviews. And he says that, and I don't know how much to believe of this, he's got a no bump clause. So what the hell are you doing in a match? So we're supposed to watch you punch, kick, and nobody can hit you and you can't fall? Come on, man.
He just doesn't want to get hurt. I mean, because he's got a standing invitation to your next barbecue, so he's not trying to mess that up.
I want to see him perform, not just the offense. I want to see a bump. I want to see him do something because that's, again, dude, him and Kingston teaming up together. They look like each other. I think there's something there.
Yeah.
By the way,
Absolutely.
Kingston hasn't shaved in how many weeks during his promos? He's looking like Action Bronson right now, which is not bad or good, but he's looking just like him.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Raw results. Matthew Thomas, Raw last night was, I thought it was a standard issue show, right? But I still was entertained. Overall, your thoughts as we kind of run down.
I think our standard issue show for right now is a lot different than it was 3 or 4 months ago. Standard issue show Raw, to me, is still a can't miss Raw. I don't know if I would have said that in the last decade, to be honest with you, outside of the road to WrestleMania. You just had
Rose to WrestleMania? What?
The Adam Rose to WrestleMania. You just had a lot of stuff that made sense. Like everything on there is for a reason, serves a purpose. Much different feel than it did just a handful of months ago.
Opening match was the WWE United States title on the line. Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley. Bro interrupts Seth Rollins, distracts him, giving the chance for Lashley to get the spear. 1, 2, 3. Lashley retains.
So, Meathead, how this would have played out back before we had this shift here in leadership is Lashley and Rollins would have gone into a program. It would have been established most likely that they were going to have a match the next pay-per-view. The program would have started right after the last pay-per-view. They would have been announced for Extreme Rules, and we would have had 3 weeks of them, feuding, whether it be via promo, whether it be tag team matches with various partners. But what we're getting now, and go back to what we saw with that qualification match for the number 1 contenders for the Usos last week on SmackDown. We're getting that match this week on SmackDown. This was announced. We got this title match to kick off a Raw last night. So business is getting done week to week, and you're not tuning in the first show after a pay-per-view to see what feuds start and basically know the trajectory of the build-up until the pay-per-view happens.
Yeah. So, all right. We've got more build, obviously, between Rollins and Riddle. So let's go Austin Theory and Kevin Owens, which was promised us from last week. You know what? Not a bad match. And I really enjoyed the small little interference, annoyance of Johnny Gargano. The winner of the match, Kevin Owens.
Yeah, and this was the promo that was talked about last week. This is what got people talking, and I think it, served the purpose to get us here this week. And again, business being done week to week. Good match, and interesting to see Gargano's involvement here.
Damage Control, what are your thoughts on the way they are now presented? I know I spoke with Linda in the air about this. Your thoughts of the packaging, the name, and the way they are presented?
Love it for Damage Control. What I don't like is I don't think you necessarily need another group of 3 women to stand up and oppose them. And that's what concerns me here. Um, I like stables, but whenever I see a stable to take them on, I go back to that era of the first call ups from NXT where you had all of the female talent in team bad, team such and such, team blah, blah, blah. That's what concerns me. So I find with the presentation of Damage Control. I don't necessarily. I want them to tell that story of Bailey and Bianca. I do not necessarily like um, the people on the opposite side, or basically there with Bianca, with Alexa Bliss and Asuka. I think that it just that feels a little bit too much like that era of women's wrestling.
Hey, your thoughts, not so much on the Brawling Brutes being on Raw, which was fine, and mic time for Ridge Holland and Butch. Your thoughts on the presentation now, because again, their match this Friday, Ridge the Fridge and Butch the Bruiser. Wait. Did they say Bruiserweight or Bruiser? I think it's Butch the Bruiser.
So I think that these guys' trajectory changed considerably with Sheamus's match at the Clash of the Castle. Yeah. You know, that basically that match reunited a lot of the momentum behind Sheamus, and I think these two guys are getting that response as well too. Because you got to stop and think, man. I mean, the Usos are de facto heels, so I don't know what you're actually, I mean, these for all intents and purposes, this is going to be a babyface team taking them on. Not a complete
babyface for the moment or babyface forever.
That's the question. I think definitely for the moment, and I think it may be a gradual swing back to that pendulum there. So I think they're kind of feeling it out, to be honest with you. But they are in a different position than they were prior to the pay-per-view.
Unfortunately for the Street Profits, they weren't going to be winning this match against the Brawling Brutes, but we still got a great match nonetheless. Brawling Brutes defeating the Street Profits. So, Johnny Gargano approached by Alpha Academy, Otis and Gable. They saw Gargano's pathetic display earlier tonight when they cost the Alpha Academy's friend Austin Theory his match. I like that little back and forth. Gargano's had one match so far. Are they using him correctly, or are they trying to ease him back in?
It seems like a little bit more of an ease back in. They're trying to kind of make him a little bit more of a situational player with the storylines he's in, and I think part of that is because you've told everybody who he is, but you may have a lot of your main roster viewership that is not familiar with his NXT resume, and so I think you're probably get him a match at Extreme Rules, and I think once you kind of showcase him at a solid breakout pay-per-view match, I think that train's going to be off and running. But it's it's not how if everybody that's watching this had the familiarity with his run in NXT, I don't think this is how he'd be used. But I think this is them kind of trying to split the difference there and make the average main roster viewer entertained by what he's doing, as opposed to just kind of putting this guy over as this professional wrestling technician.
Yeah. The Judgment Day took on Matt Riddle and Rey Mysterio. Rey with an impassioned promo backstage before Riddle says, "You ready, bro?" "I'm ready, bro." As we get through the match, Dominic, obviously 100% heel now with the Judgment Day. He turned on his father. The Judgment Day wins, and after the match, they gather in the ring. They gather for a family portrait, which was absolutely hilarious to me. But them on the microphone, Dom is still too happy. Remember my beef with Rhonda over and over was stop smiling, stop smiling, stop smiling, stop smiling. Dom will get there, okay? But that voice needs to go about 4 or 5 octaves lower. It sounds like you
Yeah.
did still.
It was the interesting thing, though. It was a rather jovial Judgment Day in general.
Oh, they had
Like,
jokes.
yeah, like that was, you even had Finn Balor kind of trying to pump up the crowd, I want this to go. I still want to find out from Dominic why he did it. And I want to hear his grievances with his father. And I think you really have a potential gold mine there. This guy was on
question when you're ready for it. Yep.
this guy was on TV when he was 5. You can play those clips. You can talk about him being subject to, being this scared little
Child
kid.
endangerment.
Yeah. I mean, there is so much you can draw on, right? And it's that thesis statement from a villain or a heel where it's like, all right, I can kind of see what he's talking about. Okay, there he is at 5. Yeah, he's trying to tip this ladder over. Okay, you shouldn't have had a kid there. Like, give us that. I think that is and my goodness, I mean, you can kind of touch the Eddie stuff. If they were comfortable doing the Eddie paternity stuff at that point, like, just throw it back out there now. Have him question, have him get ready to submit to a paternity test on Miz TV.
Get out of here. All right.
We can go back to that. Like, I think that's lightning we can recapture again.
Let me ask you this. Who's Poppy? Because I keep asking Linda that. And Rhea is supposed to be Poppy. Poppy likes what she sees.
Oh,
Poppy likes what he hears.
It's absolutely Rhea. And I got to say, like, what we're seeing on the mic here recently, I know there's no point blank leader, but as far as Rhea. I'm concerned, yeah, it's Rhea.
And she's doing phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Hey, our friend, Mike's friend, as I told my daughter when she happened to see on TV a knife coming up through the ring and sticking it out. I said, that's Mike's friend. Don't worry about it. He's tricking him. His friend Dexter was shown last week in Miz's house drawing pictures of Miz and Mrs. They're doing great work. Don't give it to me too fast. Don't take too long. Keep it at the pace you're going right now.
Oh, it's great. And he's not being overused in that pop that this guy is getting, man. And I mean, this is, you never would have necessarily thought out of anybody that this is the guy that translates. But as far as somebody from NXT to the main roster to get over this quick, it's one of the quickest audience responses on the main roster. And granted, he's not being used like a traditional wrestler. Okay, a lot of it's in the use of it. But my goodness, I mean, there hasn't been. It kind of runs parallel to what I was saying about Gargano recently. Like, you really haven't had to do much to explain why this guy is there. It's kind of self-evident.
I love me some technique. I mean, a psychopath is over huge as a face on WWE Raw. So he comes up, he grabs Miz and tries to take him under, abscond with him. Tommaso attacks Dexter. Then he goes under the ring. Then he comes back again and tries to grab him again. And then it's just such good stuff. I can watch this over and over.
And let's talk about how good this guy is with never breaking character, with always having that same expression on his face.
You don't think he was underneath the ring laughing when he says, my daughter's third Minion birthday party was last weekend, and I punched Dave the Minion. And everybody freaked out.
He had to have been. But, and you go back to like other characters, all right? Kane had a mask. Taker, had his long hair that he could kind of throw over his face. This guy has got short hair.
Face.
Like, yeah, it's all in the facial expressions, man. And this guy doesn't freaking break.
I saw literally a flinch of a lip once. And we've only heard him talk once when he said, I do to Indy. Okay, you ready to go to main event?
Great storytelling, yeah.
Bayley and Alexa Bliss. I had been very proud of WWE recently for making their main events be main events. I didn't think this was a main event. I thought this was a Vince era main event where I was like, okay, what's going on in the game? The Brewers are losing. But it was a great match. Absolutely great match. And then at the end, Damage Control standing tall.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could have had this as a surprise match to open the show and then close with your title match. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But, good match done the other. And I really do. I feel like we need a repackaging of Alexa Bliss at this point because, I mean,
And get
that
dollar
character,
away from Asuka. Get the dollar away from Asuka.
yeah, I mean, the character is still a holdover from the Fiend. And without the Fiend, man, I mean, you try to, basically kind of make it a little more sanitary, and not have her as creepy. But I think that you either go all in on the fiendish Alexa Bliss, or you go back to an original version of her, because this just it feels like that character's kind of stuck in neutral.
That carrot? Is that why you were talking about White Rabbits?
Yeah. The carrot for the rabbit. See, it's just it's penetrated my subconscious. That carrot.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
All right, Matthew. Normally this is where we wrap, but I got to ask you tonight on NXT. We walked off the air last week with the Black and Gold brand after a Shawn Michaels promo, going back to Black and Gold. What are we going to see tonight?
I want to see a different set. I want to see a different set. It doesn't have to look like it used to, but I want to feel like we're going into a different phase. I think there still is a chance, Meathead, that what we saw at the end was just somebody in the truck having fun, a nice little package put together, and they didn't really think about the implications of what everybody was going to think. It seemed like a statement, and especially having Michaels voice that over. Here's what I want. I would not mind seeing Shawn Michaels open the show.
A little bit more news on the White Rabbit, by the way. There was a video that says, "Who killed the world?" You did. Remember, he was the eater of worlds. He had the whole world in his hands. Put that together.
Interesting.
All right, so tonight, NXT possibly returning to the Black and Gold. And there we go. Unbelievable.
Outstanding. A lot of stuff going on in the world of professional wrestling. We got a White Rabbit. We got NXT kind of going back, and then we were a day away from AEW's pretty much their biggest TV event of the year.
Okay. So WWE.com/come with me.
Oh, this is a thing now, huh?
WWE.com/come with me. Head to the website, folks. WWE.com/come with me. Feed your head. A picture of the White Rabbit.
My goodness, that's big news right there.
We break it right here on PWR today. So tomorrow night, or excuse me, tomorrow morning, it'll be Matthew and Linda Kay breaking down what we are all going to see on NXT, the 3.0.
I think so, but I'm entering the URL right now, Meathead. You said www.comewithme.com.
Whoa,
all right, my connection's a little bit slow.
A little bit sticky, obviously. It's WWE.com/come with me.
You for the / thing, the slant line. Okay, I got you.
All right. So tonight we got NXT. Tomorrow morning, Matthew and Linda will talk about it, and then we'll figure out whatever website Matthew's been going to. And then Thursday morning, Linda and the Man They Call Meathead will be breaking down AEW Grand Slam from Arthur Ashe Stadium. So for Matthew Thomas, for Linda Kay, I'm the Man They Call Meathead. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.